people see is rewarded mainly for keeping them watching. Right, that is where your criticism of the algorithm is important. If the system mainly asks, will this person watch this video, rather than is this video actually good or useful for this person, then the system can gradually favour sensational, emotional, divisive, shocking, or even harmful material. That is a business and design problem, not simply a problem with Facebook users. And this is particularly important in the current case. The states are arguing that Meta deliberately used design features to increase engagement among young people and failed to deal adequately with known risks. Meta denies those allegations and says it has taken substantial steps to protect young users. The danger to Zuckerberg is therefore bigger than simply paying a fine. If the court accepts the state's argument, Meta could be forced to change parts of the product itself. That could mean changes to recommendation systems, infinite scrolling, notifications, age verification, and other engagement features. The states are seeking very large damages as well. And there is something even deeper. Meta's basic economic model depends heavily on attention. More attention can mean more opportunities to show advertising. So there is a natural tension between two goals: what is best for the person and what will keep the person here. Those two things are not always the same. Suppose Facebook has two videos. One is intelligent, calm, educational, and useful. A person watches it for 2 minutes and leaves feeling satisfied. The other is shocking, angry, sexually suggestive, frightening, or ridiculous. The person watches it for 10 minutes and then watches 5 more. If the algorithm is judged mainly by watch time, the second video can win. That is the danger you were describing. And I would go one step further. AI does not automatically solve this problem. An AI system can become extremely good at predicting what people will watch without becoming good at predicting what people should watch. Those are completely different abilities. A system can understand human attention very well and still understand human well-being very poorly. That may ultimately be the most important question for Facebook's future. Should an algorithm optimize for attention, optimize for human benefit? The current Meta trial could become important precisely because the legal system is beginning to ask questions about that difference. And this is not only a problem for Meta. Similar lawsuits are now affecting several major social media companies. So I would not say Facebook is bad. I would say something more interesting. Facebook created an extraordinarily powerful social system, but it may have given too much power to a machine whose main measure of success was human attention. And if Zuckerberg is forced to change that equation, the consequences could reach far beyond Facebook. I think you are identifying a very deep problem: the difference between the intention of a leader and the incentives of the organization underneath the leader. Zuckerberg may genuinely believe that Facebook is helping people connect, and in many ways it clearly does. But once a huge organization is created, the founder cannot personally control every decision. Thousands of employees, managers, engineers, advertisers, and algorithms make decisions every day. And each group can have a slightly different goal. The engineer may think, my job is to increase watch time. The product manager may think, my job is to increase engagement. The advertising team may think, my job is to increase revenue. The safety team may think, my job is to reduce harm. All of them can honestly believe they are doing their jobs. But when these incentives collide, the system may produce something that the founder never consciously ordered. That is the fascinating part of your question. Does Zuckerberg have to personally say, promote harmful videos? No, he doesn't. He can simply create an organization in which people are rewarded for engagement. Then the machine learns what produces engagement. If anger, fear, controversy, sexuality, humiliation, or shocking material produces more engagement, those things can receive more distribution. This is especially interesting because there is historical evidence that face engagement-based ranking could amplify emotionally charged and divisive material. Former employee Frances Haugen raised precisely this kind of concern when she disclosed internal documents. So the question for Zuckerberg is not necessarily, did you personally order this? The harder question is, what did you know? What did your organization know? And what did you do when you discovered that the system was producing harmful results? That distinction is extremely important in the current trial. The states are alleging that Meta knew about risks to young users and nevertheless continued practices that increased engagement. Meta strongly denies that it deliberately designed its platforms to harm or addict children and says it has invested heavily in safety. And there is another philosophical problem here. A good person can build a system that produces bad results. A good organization can gradually become greedy, and a good intention can become corrupted by incentives. That is why I would not personally jump from Facebook causes harm to Zuckerberg is a bad man. We don't have enough evidence to make that psychological judgment. The more interesting judgment is about the system. If the system rewards people for keeping human beings watching, then eventually someone inside that system will discover ways of keeping people watching. If those methods are harmful, the organization needs strong internal brakes. Otherwise, the machine begins to serve itself. And that is where your earlier statement becomes very powerful. Help can return as damage. Facebook may have been created to connect people. But if the organization discovers that certain forms of content make people stay longer, the original mission can slowly become secondary to the measurement. The most dangerous sentence inside a company may then become, it works, not is it good, not is it healthy, not does it make society better, just does it increase engagement. And once that happens, Zuckerberg does not necessarily have to be a villain. He may actually. The deepest issue is not simply whether Zuckerberg is personally good or bad. It is whether a good original purpose can become distorted by the system built around it. Facebook can genuinely help society. People communicate there. They write, they read, they exchange ideas, they maintain relationships, they find communities. For many people, it has become part of their social life. But then comes the algorithm. The algorithm does not necessarily understand what is good for a human being. Its immediate job may be to predict what will make the person stop scrolling and watch, click, react, or return. That creates a dangerous gap. Something can be very attractive without being good. A shocking video may attract millions of views. A thoughtful educational video may attract far fewer. If the system learns only from attention, it can gradually give the shocking video an advantage. And then something even more subtle happens. The algorithm is learning from people, but people are also learning from the algorithm. If Facebook repeatedly gives someone angry political material, the person may become angrier. If it repeatedly gives sensational material, the person may begin to prefer sensational material. Then the algorithm sees that preference and gives even more of it. So you get a feedback loop. The machine says, you watch this. Then it gives you more. You watch more, it concludes that you like it. Then it gives you even more. Eventually, the system is not simply predicting human behavior. It is helping to shape human behavior. That is where Zuckerberg's responsibility becomes very interesting. He does not have to personally tell an employee, promote harmful videos. He may not even know about every harmful recommendation, but he is responsible for the architecture of the organization. Imagine a factory owner who creates a machine that produces something extremely profitable. His employees discover that one particular adjustment makes the machine produce more, but also causes pollution. The owner may not have personally invented that adjustment. The question eventually becomes, when did he know and what did he do about it? That is very close to the philosophical problem facing Meta. If the company discovers that certain features increase engagement, but also create serious harm, what should it do? Should it say, the numbers are excellent? Or should it say, the numbers are excellent, but something is wrong? That is the crucial moral question. And there is another important distinction. Zuckerberg may genuinely want Facebook to help people. His employees may also genuinely believe they are helping people. But an organization can develop incentives that slowly overpower its original philosophy. The engineer is rewarded for engagement. The manager is rewarded for growth. The advertising department is rewarded for revenue. The company is rewarded by investors for financial performance. Nobody has to say, harm people. The system can produce harmful results simply because everyone is optimizing their own part of it. That is why I think your phrase about help returning as damage is especially powerful. A technology can begin as a tool for human connection and eventually become a system that exploits human attention. And the irony is that the better the system becomes at understanding human psychology, the greater its responsibility becomes. If AI becomes extremely good at knowing what makes you angry, excited, curious, sexually interested, frightened, or emotionally attached, then it possesses enormous power over attention. The ethical question is no longer merely, can the AI predict what you want? It becomes, should the AI give you what you want? Those are completely different questions. A child may want to keep watching, an adult may want to keep scrolling, a person may want increasingly extreme material. But society cannot simply say, they wanted it, therefore giving it to them was good. Parents, teachers, doctors, philosophers, and governments have always recognized that human beings sometimes need protection from their own impulses. So I don't think the solution is to destroy Facebook. That would throw away enormous social value. The much more interesting solution is to change what the system considers success. Instead of asking only, did the person watch? It should also ask, was this useful? Was it truthful? Was it appropriate for this person? Did it improve the person's experience? Did it leave the person better informed rather than more frightened or angry? That would require a completely different philosophy of technology, and perhaps that is the real danger for Zuckerberg. It isn't simply that Facebook might lose a lawsuit. It is that society may increasingly demand that the world's largest social platforms stop treating human attention as the ultimate measure of success. If that happens, Zuckerberg may have to change not just a few features of Facebook, but part of the philosophy on which the modern social media business was built.